Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm so glad you're here this morning. I got a great show and a special guest here. I always say special guest, but it's a real special guest this morning. I guess all of them are real special, but anyway, got one here in the studio. We're glad to have back with us. Our high today is going to be 84 and low 70. Water temperature is 83 degrees. As always, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. We're looking at water temperature not as hot as it has been this year, 83 degrees. The river reading brought to us by Mountain Dew. Take it outside with Mountain Dew. The river is going down a little bit, but Apalachicola 8.3. Gail and I got to fish some at Howard Creek last week. I'm going to tell you about the trip and all later, but it's still a little high down there for the old timers. A little bit high. Now the Choctaw at Caryville, it's gone down to a 4.1, and that's about right. They're catching some fish on the Choctaw River right now. I promise you. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. All week long we have a great tide flow. Check it out. We have the low tide. We've got a high tide in the morning now, just the opposite it's been the last month. High tide's at 10:35 this morning. Then it's going to start going out at, it'll be lowest, at 9:57 tonight. But it got the incoming tide all morning up to about 10 o'clock. It's going to be some really good fishing in the Bay system. So that's some really important points right there. And the marine forecast, it's going to be a real pretty day, but the wind's going to be pretty steady coming out of south about 10 to 12, and the same thing tomorrow will be coming out of south about 10 to 12, so that's going to push that water on up on the north shore. Let's take a break and come back with our guest. All right, welcome back, and look who's with us this morning, Stan Kirkland.
Good morning, Winston. Good to see you.
Stan, it's great to have you on. He was a little bit under the weather last time. We had Jose Ponce sit in for you, but now you're back and doing well.
Yeah, glad to be back. I've had a few health issues, but anyway, I'm glad to be back. Had a little scare after the hurricane with my heart, and got that had to have heart surgery, and ended up going to Atlanta. They couldn't do it here because the hospital was in such shape here, but I ended up going to Emory and had that done, and then unfortunately I on the same day I caught more redfish than I've ever caught in my life.
That's what gave you the heart spark.
I ended up having a stroke, and it wasn't a major stroke, but it was a stroke nevertheless, and so that kind of took a little luster off catching all those redfish. But,
well, so many people have asked about it. I said, I'm just going to get him to come on the show, and I want you to see him. He looks fine, don't he? It was great.
Thank you, Winston. I appreciate it.
And well, let's go to that trip before. That was an excellent trip you had. That fishing trip, catching all those redfish. I heard about it.
Winston, actually it was. I'll have to remember now. It was April the 27th.
Okay.
And I went by myself wade fishing and took my cast net, caught a bunch of live bait. These are mainly these tiger fish you see up along the edge. And I made a mistake though. I walked by most of them to get to where I wanted to fish, and then I couldn't find my bait. So I had to backtrack, and I finally got bait though. And but I'll tell you, I probably had 20, 21, 22 bait in a live bucket, but it was every throw was a redfish. I've never seen our bays like that.
Wow.
And sometimes I would bring in one redfish and there'd be 2 or 3 with that redfish and come in with him. And then sometimes they get off, but I landed 9 fish and I kept just turning them loose. But anyway, I quit about 11:30. I'd fished about 2 hours and had plenty of fish and came in. So I kept one fish, but I probably had, I don't know, between the ones I lost and the ones I kept, 12 or 13.
That's awesome. I'm pretty strong for a couple hours in the morning.
It was just one, and I used light braid line, and a lot of people, I don't know if they've gone to braid, but braid is so, braid is so responsive, and you can feel on it if you flounder fish or if you fish for speckled trout or redfish or whatever, you can really feel. And then I use about almost a 2-foot leader. I use 12-pound test fluorocarbon leader.
Yeah,
and a light jig head, and it just makes it a lot of fun.
That sounds like a fun trip. Listen, when you caught them, how deep of water were they in?
Winston, they were in about 3.5, 4 feet of water. They weren't in all that deep of water. I was wading, and I was to my waist. And now on April the 27th, the day I went, the water was still cold. It was still pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the wind was blowing a little bit, and I got a little bit, cool, but not nothing bad. But it was just amazing because, and in fact, a friend of mine went in the same area just a few days later, and he told me he caught 7 flounder. He didn't catch any he caught 1 redfish, but he said he caught mostly flounder. So
was he fishing with live bait or
live bait, doing the same thing, using a small jig head and just getting it out there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people fishing the same way now. The water temperature, I know you mentioned, water temperature is coming up.
Really going.
It's going to affect things.
Yeah. Now, when are you going to head back that way?
Well, I'm on probation right now.
You brought up something, and Gail gives me a hard time about it. You and I both, we grew up like this. We just like to go to the woods or the water by ourselves sometimes. If a buddy wants to go, If not, we'll just go by ourselves. And they don't want us to go. Our wives do not want us to go by ourselves anymore.
Well, I hate to say it.
You got put on probation.
I'm kind of on probation right now. I'm limited as to where I can go, but I got to take somebody with me. But anyway, I'm gonna go back. It's just a matter of just trying to get over this little episode I've had, and then I'm gonna go back. So,
it's safer and wiser to go with someone else. It really is, and especially you just never know what happens. Captain Roy got through out of the boat a couple weeks ago.
I saw and I talked to him.
But he was with his son. But if he'd been by himself, he'd been in trouble.
He would have been in trouble. So, yep, you're right.
Okay, we're gonna take a break. Come right back with Stan. Okay, welcome back. We're a good friend and a long time. How many years were you FWC?
Oh, I had 41 and a half years.
41 with the Fish and Wildlife Commission, and very well respected, and what a wonderful job he did in getting us information on a regular basis. I mean, it was awesome having you in there.
Thank you, Winston.
Okay, look, real quick, couple of pictures. Our buddy Billy Grantham, Billy up there at Sneed's?
I know Billy Grantham at Sneed's.
All right, listen, he sent these pictures. These caught by Scott Hartsfield and grandsons in Sneed's. That's a nice one. Look at that mess right there.
Well,
that's a good mess of fish coming up there.
Yeah, can they see them on the
they can see them right there.
Boy, that is look at the size of some of those brim, and I can't tell. I think that's shell cracker, and there's some shell cracker too.
All right, and then let's see, we'll get on to this. I want to show this real quick. This is one of my former students, Brandon Lowry, and she sent me a picture of the old Outdoor Ed shirt, okay? I'm going to read this. This is heartwarming to me last night. Hey, Coach Chester, I finally remembered to take a picture for you. It's the only T-shirt I've kept through the years. And she went to Moses a while back. It's always been my favorite. And this is our old Outdoor Ed shirt. It said, take a grown-up fishing. We play off of take a kid fishing. So I wrote her back. I said, now, how many? I said, Brandon, I can't remember all the years running together, all the kids. And tell me again what year you graduated. Well, she came back. She said, I graduated in the year 2000. That shirt is 19 years old, and she still has the Outdoor Ed shirt. I said, that's legendary. So anyway, I pulled up here. That's Brandon, her 3 kids, husband and 3 kids and all.
Wow, look at that.
And what a wonderful story. But she still has her Outdoor Ed T-shirt. Wow. I was just heartwarming to me to read that last night. So you know how much those kids and Sarah.
Our kids were in your outdoor class, and they remember. I know you taught them to throw a cast net, Brandon learned to build furniture. You gave him a project, and he still has that.
Does he still have it?
Yes, he does.
I told Brandon, he went to medical school, and he's a doctor now. I said, well, the reason you were able to be a doctor is because of that Outdoor Ed background. I was just kidding, but how's he doing?
He's doing wonderful. He's in Salt Lake City and working at a hospital.
And he's in which branch?
He's a pediatric cardiologist.
Pediatric cardiologist.
Right.
That is awesome.
And Weston, I tell you, you made a good influence. You were a great influence on him.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I want to say good morning to Bob Carpenter from Apalachicola. I ran into him the other day, and he's from North Georgia, but he has a dream because he stays down in Apalachicola about 6 months a year and fishes. That ain't bad, is it?
No, it's not, and that's a great place to fish. But a lot of people from North Georgia, Alabama, they enjoy staying on the area during this time.
I'll tell you, that's a special area. Listen, we're talking about fishing, speckled trout. Let's talk about, I know you catch a lot of speckled trout too. Tell us about some speckled trout.
Well, I catch a few speckled trout, but I understand that the commission did not make any changes.
This is interesting. Now, remember, we get the background to it.
Well, they were talking about, due to the fact that there was a lot of discussion about the bag limit of speckled trout, or spotted sea trout, that the bag limit was too high, that it was 5 fish. There had been a lot of surveys. But based on everything that was done and the presentation made to the commission, it's my understanding, I didn't go to the meeting, but it's my understanding that they decided not to change the bag limit. They were going to change the bag limit, but they decided not to go from 5 fish down to 3 fish per person. I didn't care personally, Winston, whether they changed it or not. It wouldn't have mattered to me because I released most of my fish anyway, and I think, I talked to one of the guides recently who guides here, Matt Smith. I think Matt told me most of the people have gotten where they release fish, but anyway, they made the decision, I think, to leave it where it is.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the pressure came from the Big Bend area, around the Stenhatchee area, where those people.
That's exactly right.
There's a lot more trout, seems like, in that area.
Yep, that's exactly right. We don't have, for whatever reason, I don't think we have as many trout over this way as they do, or don't catch as many trout. But but
that's interesting.
It is.
Usually when something like that, and you've been at FWC 41 years, usually when it's proposed, done most of the time, the proposal like that has been well researched and sort of been hashed out, and they pretty well go along with what.
Yeah, I've seen it both ways. I've seen it both ways, but usually when staff makes a recommendation, and it is a well-grounded recommendation, and it's been thoroughly vetted, and they've been through everything. Generally what the agency, the commissioners will do is follow through, but I've seen times where, for whatever reason, they didn't, and you just gotta, it's just part of the process.
It's interesting.
It is, but the people, I think, had a lot to do with this, and but it's not to say that it won't come back before the commission. Nothing would surprise me, so from a year from now, or 2 years, or 3 years, it wouldn't be surprising if data shows that there's a dearth of fish for them to come back. So,
do you think, now you, like I say, fish the area a long time, what's your personal feeling as a fisherman and recreation man about our population of trout and redfish over the years? What do you think?
Well, Winston, I haven't seen as many trout in the last couple of years, and don't ask me why. I don't have a good answer. I just haven't seen as many speckled trout in our offshore waters. I haven't fished East Bay a lot, but I haven't seen as many trout. But there seems to be more redfish and more flounder than I think I've seen in a long, long time. And one thing I know that the flounder fishermen, flounder fishing's funny. If you don't know, they issue a commercial license and let people. I know we got to take a break coming up.
Okay.
But they let flounder fishermen basically really hammer them in the winter months, and they didn't really get to do that this year because of the storm.
That's true.
And so we got a lot of flounder in our area right now. If you like to flounder fish and you like to fish in what they call skinny water, if you like to fish in shallow water up in 4, 5, 6 feet of water, now's a good time to go.
Now's a good time to go.
It's a great time to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
In
fact, we use, if you don't mind me saying, we use, if you like to fish for like that, learn to, Winston can teach you how to throw a cast net.
It's not hard.
It's not hard at all. But catch your live bait and use that live bait and learn your tides. That's one of the greatest things I ever did was when I got somebody to teach me was to learn the tides, and that is fish either an incoming or an outgoing tide. Forget your dead tides, your low tide or your high tide, but fish your moving tide, moving water.
I know you folks watch the show. A lot of y'all watch it all the time and all, but you over and over again, we get from our experts that come on the show, that's exactly what they say, that moving tide. We talk about it over and over again.
Well, you guides are better. I'm not an expert. Don't lump me in that group. But your guides know more than anybody, and they'll tell you, to fish your moving tides, and then you can fish a cork. a live bait on a cork, or you can use live bait, just on a light jig head.
Yeah.
Then you have to learn your bait, whether you're fishing live mullet or if you're fishing, tiger fish or something. Some of the bait will actually pick up your jig head. If it's mullet, they'll pick up your jig head, so you have to use a different weight.
Yeah.
So there's things you have to learn. But and then you need to know your bag limits and all that.
And what you're doing, you're keeping it natural, just like a fly fisherman.
Right.
Just reflecting what's going on in nature. Right
That's
there.
exactly right.
Let's take our final break. We'll be right back with Stan. All right, welcome back. Sitting here with our friend and actually a co-host, fills in for me when I'm gone, Stan Kirkland, a great outdoorsman. And from Jackson County, the Jackson County roots. Let's look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers, 2:48 to 4:48 this morning and 3:15 to 5:15 this afternoon. And real quick, talking about Jackson County and Sneads and all, you were up there during the hurricane. I know we covered that before, and I didn't realize your eye came that close to your mom's house.
She had about, we've evacuated thinking we were going to get out of the way of the storm. And Mom lives there on River Road, just north of Sneads, and I'm telling you, it was unbelievable. She had about 25 trees that fell on her property. Her house wasn't damaged, but I need to bring the picture. The next day, this enormous snake, it was, I think it was a Florida pine snake. The pine plantation behind her house was flattened, and it came up there, and Bethany, our daughter Bethany, and her husband Derek, and they were there, their children, anyway, but this snake got up in her car, the fender well, then went into the engine compartment.
Oh, my goodness.
And so they wanted me to catch the snake and get it out. And Sarah, she said, Dad, you used to work with FTC, you catch them.
Yeah.
And I said, why do I want to catch the snake? I said, leave it alone. So anyway, but the snake crawled out and went on its way. But we ended up with, like you say, with just a tremendous amount of damage. I think it cost us over $14,000 just to get the trees cleaned up.
How old is your mom now? She's
92.
92, and she was. And this is touched my heart. She was worried about the trees that she and your dad had planted.
Yeah, she and Dad had planted a number of. They'd been there, 65, 70 years. They had planted a number of big pecans. And all of the pecans were laying down. The pine trees, of course, the pines didn't last like here. They didn't stay up.
Yeah.
So it was an ordeal, but finally everything's kind of, for the most part, back together.
That's good. Okay, now let's go. Let's switch channels now. Let's go over here. Now, I know you love the turkey hunt. That's your passion, and the National Wild Turkey Federation, you're big in it. Right. And you did get to go. You did something I don't think ever been done. You batted about 1,000. Tell this story.
Well, I don't know that. I had my surgery. My heart surgery was March the 5th in Atlanta. We were in the hospital a week, and or between the hospital and a motel room, they wouldn't let me come home for a week. Want to make sure I was good. I got home, and I'll tell you, I was about to climb the wall. My wife had me on, light duty and doing all that kind of stuff, and you can only, walk around the house so many times.
Right.
And finally, after 3 weeks, I said, I'm going turkey hunting in the morning. And she said, you've lost your mind. And I said, nope, I'm going turkey hunting. So I hadn't scouted, I hadn't done anything, and I went to a place, and not long after daylight, I had called a time or two, and I looked up, and I had a big mature gobbler. In the distance, I could see him, and 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, he came to me, and I killed him. He weighed 19.7 pounds, and then I went back 1 week later, my fourth week anniversary from my surgery, and I killed a bird that weighed 17 pounds.
3 weeks and 4 weeks after your heart surgery, out there in the woods shooting turkeys.
2 different places, and I was very fortunate. But anyway, and then I couldn't go back, not with a gun anyway, but. I did go back and call some from my son-in-law, but
you broke your restrictions, and
I had somebody with me. But anyway, but it's been good. Boy, you and your wife did good brim fishing last week. We're
going to talk about that in the next show. No, we had a great trip down to Howard Creek. We sure did, and
I saw that,
and it was wonderful. And it's just fun getting out and all. So you went 2-time turkey hunting and got a turkey both times.
I killed a bird both times.
You just don't do that, folks. That's why I say about 1,000 and all. But
well, I was fortunate.
Cool.
I was very fortunate, Winston.
All right, dude, this is May, and we got the whole summer coming up. What are you going to be able to do this summer? What's your goals?
Well, I've got one more trip to the heart doctor to get checked out. That's coming up this week, and I got one local doctor here gave me the all thumbs, the clear last week. So, but right now the water temperature is getting good, and so be able to fish some, and also we were talking about yellow flies, deer flies. Got to kind of get over that period, because in typically late May into June, yellow flies and deer flies are a pain. If you go anywhere there's a tree canopy, and you know that. Yeah,
and fortunately, or unfortunately, I'm having more yellow flies problem at my house than I have out on the water. That's crazy. But they are a pain.
Yes, they are a pain, and you got to be careful. If you use a thermocell, you can use a thermocell in your boat.
We have a mutual friend that had an unfortunate situation. What happened?
Yeah, well, Scott Lindsay was telling me he used a thermocell in his boat, and I think he had spent $3 on crickets, and then he found out his thermocell killed all his crickets. So it was $3 worth.
That just ruined his trip.
I'm pretty sure he just fell apart.
Yeah.
But you can't use the thermocell and have live crickets. If that odor gets to them, it'll get them. That thermocell is a great device. Yeah. It is a wonderful device.
And you ran into some of our viewers the other day.
Winston, you and I talked about this a minute ago, but up in Chipley recently, not too long ago, I talked to somebody that watches you. They watch you just about every day, and then also over in Sneed's, Greg Beecham that owns Beecham Hardware, and there was another guy in there, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name, but Greg was telling me he watches you just about every day. He catches your show before he goes to work in the morning.
We keep talking about what loyal viewers we have at Panhandle Outdoors. I mean, just good outdoor, good solid people, and that's what keeps us going.
Yeah, it is.
And we appreciate it, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Winston.
I'm glad you're doing better.
No, I'm okay. I'm doing fine.
Awesome.
Thank you, Winston.
All right, folks, thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors, and do something good today for your fellow man. And always enjoy our great outdoors out here in the Panhandle. This is a lot of fun. You have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.